Mizuho is making a bullish call today on semis for 2021. They raise AMD's price target to $102. It's one of the top picks for next year. Call of the day. There are a number of good calls in here. New price targets. Applied Materials from 82 to 96. Reiterate buy. NXP from 155 to 173. Reiterate buy. Qorvo 155 old, 180 new. Steve Weiss. Qualcomm, 154 to 163. Seagate, 54 to 65. Broadcom, 460 to 480. Lam Research, 410 to 530. Micron, 75 to 85. Reiterate buy on everything except for Seagate, which is a neutral. Steve Weiss.
So here's how you have to look at it. And it goes back to what I've been saying in 5G. Whereas 4G and Gs before were a mobile-only network, 5G is an industrial revolution. And it's a platform-enabling technology. And what are the brains of those platforms? The chip stocks, a lot that you mentioned. So you're going to see that. It was pulled forward. It was going to happen anyway. The mistake is just to focus on the consumer, just to focus on the iPhone 12 when you're seeing it everywhere else, making it more efficient, making society more productive, and making things cost less. So the analyst is actually right in the direction, but they'll be wrong on the price because we can expect that analyst to come back and the others and raise their price targets again because you're seeing sustainable move higher. So Qorvo, yes. Skyworks, yes. Qualcomm, without a doubt. I defy you to find any electronic gimmick or car or anything that does not have brains powered by a semi chip now. And it goes to the industrial. Mercedes, full 5G factory that they're building. So yes, semis are where you want to be. There'll be a little volatility, but it's what you want to own for sure and should be a core part of the portfolio.
Wow. Farmer Jim, I mean, to hear Steve Weiss wax poetic about Qualcomm just must make you smile. Look at you. Look at you.
He's right. I mean, listen, Steve and I like to jab at each other, but he's been right longer than I have on Qualcomm, so I tip my hat to him. This report has a lot for everyone, has something for everyone. I think we're all going to agree that chips are a cyclical sector. They're the new steel, what steel was in the last century. But there's something for everyone in here, and what I really like is the automotive sector. So it's kind of doubling down on cyclical, right? But I think with low interest rates and a booming economy, you're going to get more auto sales, and autos have more and more chips in them to do everything from communicate to sense to regulate. NXP Semiconductors is the big gorilla in that space. It's a recent acquisition. Pete, hate to tell you this, but I swapped out of Intel for it. I'm really happy with NXP Semiconductor. I see it going higher from here on automotives rather.
Pete, I can't even remember, Pete. You still own Intel, Pete?
I do indeed, sir. Yes, not happily, and I have. You know, it's something we've talked about on the show, and I've been thinking about exactly what direction I need to take with that one, whether I completely exit or something else. But so far, I've been hanging in there with the stock. It's basically doing nothing right now, Scott. But what I'm most excited about are the ones that I do own outside of that, which is Micron, because they've got a lot more 5G exposure than people fully can comprehend. Matter of fact, it's the best performing stock of the group in the last 3 months. It's up 45%, a really nice move. And I think the combination of that, also throw in Marvell, because Marvell made that acquisition when everybody was making acquisitions in the semiconductor space, it seemed like. And I think Inphi was an absolute steal for them. And the fact that they're getting positioned more, not just in the cloud, but also into 5G. When you look at these names, Scott, all of these names, you see a lot of different companies where the PE is very tolerable, their growth rate's incredible, and to the point of both the other two gentlemen, we're talking about an area in the market that covers not just technology, but it covers automotive, it covers industrial.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean everything's going to win, though. So, right? That doesn't mean every name's going to win, right? I mean, I know you're still thinking Kirk Cousins is going to lead you to the playoffs one day, Pete, but you know, not everything's going to work.
To your point,
Pete.
though, Scott, not everything's going to work, but right now, just take a look at, for the most part, look at the lead the top 10 market cap names in semiconductors, and that tells you the story. Take a look at the SMH. That tells you the story. It has been not just a single stock. It's not just an NVIDIA. It's not just an AMD. It's across the board. It's NXPI. It's Qualcomm. It's all these various names that have sometimes paused while others have run, but most of these names, but big majority of these names have moved to the upside. And I think there are specific names because of where they're located that actually have much more upside. That's why I'm in Marvell. It's why I'm in Micron.
I hear you. I mean, Jenny, you have Applied Materials. Yep. You have Intel also. Sorry to mention Teradyne and Taiwan Semi.
Right, but I take a different look at this report. So when I read this report, the key to it really is him saying that he thinks that because of 5G, the semis are going to take their revenues are going to take a greater percent of GDP. Now, we've had 3G, 4G, social media, cloud, all of that, and guess what? Semi revenues as a percent of global GDP has remained very, very consistent. So if he's wrong on that, right, and actually and I hear Steve's point on this being industrial, not social or not individual, but if he's wrong on the percent of GDP, global GDP becoming bigger, then this kind of falls apart. And what I worry about in this report is I see yet another analyst who's changing their valuation metrics to try and keep up with the prices that these stocks have gotten to try to justify them. And I'm skeptical, and one of my skepticisms is I don't think it's been terribly glorious for the past decade, 2 decades to be an AMD analyst. And now a lot of these guys have had their day in the sun and they're enjoying it. They don't want the party to end.
Wait a minute. You mean when a stock goes up a lot, you're not supposed to just raise your price target and continuously do that?
Crazy enough,
you're not
I don't
supposed to
think
do that?
you should. No,
I'm being
unless, of
facetious.
course, you want your day in the sun to continue.
I hope you understand that.
I know. No, I got that. No, I definitely do. Unless you want your day in the sun to continue forever, right? And then you do, and you keep the party going.
Okay.
So for example, we actually trimmed a little bit of our Taiwan Semi, right? We took a little bit off. We don't want to be pigs and greedy, so we took a little off there. It got too expensive.
I gotta go.
I had Qualcomm. I sold Qualcomm.
I know.
Okay.